All right, what's going on, guys? Bengal King here, coming back at you with another video, and today we are doing a mock draft. Highly requested. I'm excited to do it, and basically, for the sake of being accurate in what I want it to be, even though we're doing it in real time, if you see me looking off to the side, I've got my actual mock draft pulled up. I'll be able to explain the picks a little bit. I'm not going to go too into detail because I know everyone is just here to see their team, and that's pretty much it. So I don't want to make it too long for you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the Bengals are on the clock at number 1. Now that a lot more of the draft order is solidified, I thought it was a good time to do this. And we're going to go Joe Burrow. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think what I'm going to do, maybe the next mock draft that I release, and make sure to subscribe if you're not already for those. The next mock draft that I'll actually release probably will be in the scenario that Chase Young goes number 1 overall instead of Joe Burrow. And now I don't really view that as likely. I think there's an outside shot that will happen. Chase Young is unbelievable, probably the best overall player in the class, but Joe Burrow plays the most important position and was incredible this past year at LSU, has a lot of pro-ready traits, and I think he makes a lot of sense to the Bengals. But if they do decide to go with what maybe they view to be the best player in the draft in Chase Young, might do a mock draft where everything's thrown out the window, because if Chase Young goes number 1 overall, we could do a mock draft where we make trades and stuff like that. But if we don't do any trades, who's the next team to take a quarterback? The Redskins wouldn't. The Lions most likely would not. The Giants would not. You have the Dolphins at number 5, so maybe you see Joe Burrow go at number 5 and then maybe Tua at 6, or Justin Herbert, maybe even an outside shot at Jordan Love. It's going to be very interesting. But Joe Burrow, the Bengals, at number 1, and that leaves Chase Young at number 2. They could use help on the edge. Ryan Kerrigan's getting older. Montez Sweat is good, but you need more than one of these guys, and most good teams have more than 2. So Chase Young makes a lot of sense to the Redskins at number 2. And then we're going to go with kind of a tough one for me. Now, I know a lot of people have Jeffrey Okudah. I've seen Isaiah Simmons here, Derek Brown. I don't really look at a whole ton of mock drafts, but those are some names I've heard for this team or that make a lot of sense. I'm going to give them Jeff Okudah, though. I think they don't really have a whole ton outside of Darius Slay, and their secondary is fairly weak as a whole. They lost Quandre Diggs in a trade with Seattle. And I know while Quandre Diggs is not a cornerback anymore, hasn't played corner outside of the nickel since Texas as a Longhorn, they need help at cornerback very badly, and Jeff Okudah fills that role. And I think if the first 2 picks are set in stone with Joe Burrow and Chase Young, essentially, 3 is where things start to get interesting, where the possibilities open up a bit more. And certainly, as a Giants fan at number 4, the possibilities grow even more, because you could take an offensive tackle, maybe Jedrick Wills at right tackle, maybe even transition him to left, but I think right tackle makes the most sense. I think Jedrick Wills is the most likely tackle for the Giants to take, with Nate Solder still at left tackle. I am a Giants fan, so this pick, I try to do a more rational approach than what I would want. But with that being said, I still am going to have them take Isaiah Simmons. He's an incredible player, offers amazing versatility, and the Giants, who have basically refused to go linebacker in the past 10 years in the draft at any top pick, whether that be the first or the second round, really, I think Isaiah Simmons would be a huge addition. You can move him all around the field. He'd be great in the 3-4, play him near the line on the box, whatever. At number 5, I'm going to have the Dolphins take a quarterback, and that is going to be Justin Herbert. Now, I think Tua is the better player, but this is what I think the Dolphins are going to do. A lot of rumors have Herbert linked to the Dolphins, so the Dolphins have done the most homework on him of any quarterback, which I don't really fully believe. I think if you're going to be looking at quarterback, you're going to take a look at all available potential options and not just, we're only going to look at Herbert, like the most. I don't know about that, but apparently the Dolphins are a team that's heavily linked to Justin Herbert, so maybe they would lean on him, a right-handed traditional QB versus Tua, who's a lefty, Tua with some injury concern. Maybe Herbert's the pick here, but that opens up the Chargers to take their quarterback of the future, and that is Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I know you want to say Tagovailoa just because of the way it looks. He pronounces his own name, Tagovailoa. So I'm going to say it how he says it, because that's how he pronounces his own name. It makes the most sense. At number 7, I'm going to give the Panthers Derek Brown. Now, of course, they have a huge hole at linebacker now that they lost Luke Kuechly to retirement. But Derek Brown is probably a top 5 player in the draft, and the Panthers get him outside the top 5 by a little bit there at number 7. Really good player. They could definitely stand to improve their defense as a whole. But defensive line, I think when a player like Derek Brown is available, that's probably where you go. Cardinals is really interesting because you have the top receiver still on the board. And maybe Jerry Jeudy, is going to go earlier than this. Maybe CeeDee Lamb would be available in this range. But in this particular instance, Jerry Jeudy is available at 8. CeeDee Lamb's available. Henry Ruggs. All the top receivers are available. But I think we lean towards tackle and protecting Kyler Murray. Larry Fitzgerald is back for another year. It's a very, very deep receiver class. I think that's definitely a team you could look to see take a receiver at the top of round 2. I don't know about at number 8, though. There's definitely potential for it. Jeudy is a stud. I think the best receiver in this class pretty easily right now. CeeDee Lamb's good. Henry Ruggs is good. I'm not a huge T. Higgins fan as far as the other top receivers go, but I think that tackle is going to be a little bit more important to the Cardinals here because they took back-to-back quarterbacks, so you got to protect the QB. Murray is a mobile guy, but it's important to keep him protected, even if he does scramble out of the pocket consistently. That leaves the Jags open to take Jerry Jeudy, best receiver in the draft. At least as I record this, who knows what could happen 10 years from now. But Jeudy is a stud. The last time the Jaguars took a first-round receiver, I want to say it was Justin Blackmon, and that was quite a while ago. Am I mistaken? Allen Robinson was a third-round pick. DJ Chark was a third-round pick. I might be missing somebody, but I think Jerry Jeudy would be their first-round receiver since Justin Blackmon. And Blackmon was really good, but couldn't stay off the weed. Shout out Stephen A. Number 10, I'm going to give the Cleveland Browns Jedrick Wills. He's played right tackle at Alabama, had Alex Leatherwood playing left tackle. The Browns need help at both spots. I think protecting Baker Mayfield should be a priority, even if he is more effective out of the pocket and under pressure than in clean pockets without pressure. It's very, very strange, some of his advanced analytics. Jets are on the clock at number 11. I think they're a little bit disappointed that maybe the top 2 tackles went off the board, but they still need to prioritize protecting Sam Darnold. Tristan Wirfs is going to do just that. Has a lot of versatility. I think he can play left and right tackle. And do so at a very high level. He has a wrestling background. He's huge. He's extremely athletic. Really, really talented player. Strong. Good technique. Jets get themselves a very, very good player at number 11. And that leaves the Raiders to go pretty much either receiver or linebacker, in my opinion. Number 12, the top linebacker is off the board in Isaiah Simmons at number 4. And I'm going to have the Raiders take a receiver, and that is going to be CeeDee Lamb. Say what you will about Derek Carr. I've been a pretty big critic of him for years now, but he hasn't exactly had the best of weapons. And when Darren Waller, who is a converted receiver to tight end, has been your best weapon last year, Tyrell Williams really didn't do a whole lot. I think they definitely could stand to take a big-time playmaker, and especially someone who's so good after the catch, who can really make a lot happen. CeeDee Lamb definitely fits that. And now at number 13, I'm gonna get a little bit wild here, but apparently the Colts love. They love Jordan Love, and I love Jordan Love too. If you guys ever want some more advanced opinions on prospects, I would say definitely make sure to follow me on Twitter. Link as well as anything you'll ever need is in the description. Twitter.com/Bengal Designs. I've tweeted about Jordan Love as far back as last year because I noticed he had a lot of potential. I want to say I watched their bowl game 2 years ago, and that's where I first found out about him. But Jordan Love, and this is not a hard and fast comparison. Everyone wants the pro comps, but you can't force it. But he does have a lot of Patrick Mahomes comparables, has a very, very strong arm, is good out of the pocket, kind of that improviser ability. Jordan Love is really, really good. His numbers last year at Utah State were not incredible, but when you flip on the tape, that's where things actually start to make more sense with him. There's not a whole lot of talent at Utah State. They lost Darwin Thompson a year ago, who's a big playmaker for them at running back. There's not a whole lot going on at receiver. They have, I want to say, Siosi Mariner, who's not even a draft-worthy player as their top receiver, who I like, actually. So he could be a good late-round gem maybe, but Jordan Love's really, really good. And when I say Patrick Mahomes comparables, it's not oh my God, he's going to be the best quarterback in the NFL, the way Patrick Mahomes is leveling up to be. But Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes both were a little bit raw with good arms in college, who didn't always have to, set their feet to make the best throws, and have both, great deep balls. I like Jordan Love a lot. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying there's a lot of potential to mold there. And if the Colts really do like him as much as rumored to be, why not spend a first-round pick on him? Patrick Mahomes went at number 10. I want to say the Chiefs traded up to get him at number 10 a few years ago, and that was certainly a good decision. And he was a player that people didn't even know if he was going to go in the first round. And now Jordan Love, kind of the same thing happens there. So that's my comparison as far as the draft pick and maybe a little bit for the player. At number 14, we're going to give the Bucks K'Lavon Chaisson out of LSU. Chaisson's a really good player. Another guy that is going to be a lot of fun for a team to mold just because he's a freak athlete. Really, really incredible speed, burst, decent hands too. He's a player who's a little bit raw, but I think he could definitely make a big impact for the Bucks coming off the edge. Can never really have enough pass rushers. Thought about maybe Grant Delpit here, improving them at safety, or maybe even a cornerback. I don't think cornerback is as much of a need as other people are saying it is, because when you look at what they've drafted in the past couple years and who they have coming along, I think Sean Murphy Bunting has a lot of potential. Didn't look too great last year, but it was his rookie year. Carlton Davis is coming along. Jamel Dean looked pretty good for a rookie last year. I don't think they need cornerback personally, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll take one at 14, although I highly doubt a quarterback could even be a position of need for the Bucks. Maybe they even trade up for QB with Bruce Arians. It just all depends on Jameis Winston. Free agency is going to be a lot of fun. Definitely going to change a lot of what happens with these mock drafts. Broncos at number 15, I think they would be pretty disappointed in all like the top tackles going off the board, because that's a position I think they could look for. They have Juwan James at right tackle. Garrett Bowles really hasn't been all that at left tackle, but wide receiver is certainly the biggest need for them. They traded away Emmanuel Sanders. Deshaun Hamilton is okay. Cortland Sutton is a bona fide beast, don't get me wrong, but they need receiver in a big way, and that's where Henry Ruggs comes in. Someone that can just take the top off the defense. Great route running, good hands, and really incredible speed. I think he'd be a perfect pair with Cortland Sutton, kind of the best of both worlds there. Cortland Sutton's got the size and that jump ball ability. Henry Ruggs a little bit better of a route runner, and of course deep speed for real. 16, we have the Falcons. I'm going to give them AJ Epineza out of Iowa. I think he's a versatile edge defender that can be moved to the inside depending on the package. Epineza is really, really good, strong run defender. Could stand to get a little bit better with rushing the passer, but their run defense is terrible. And Epineza, who can definitely do a bit of both, I think a stronger run defender, as I said, but I think he definitely fits this weak Falcons defense that has really let them down, because they have a lot of playmakers. They have a lot of potential to be a good team in the NFC South, and they have not lived up to that at all. But that leaves the Dallas Cowboys at number 17 with a huge need in the secondary, and I am going to give them Grant Delpit. Arguably the best safety in the class. Kind of depends what you consider Isaiah Simmons to be, although most would consider him a linebacker. But then maybe even Xavier McKinney you might consider a better safety than Grant Delpit. Delpit had an incredible sophomore campaign. He was good as a freshman as well. Even though he won the award for best DB in the nation last year, he probably wasn't even the best DB on his own team. When you look at Derek Stingley, who was a breakout freshman who was incredible. Christian Fulton maybe had an even better season than Grant Delpit last year, but Grant Delpit won the award. It was interesting. He made some mistakes. I've called him a good tackler in the past, and I've taken heat for that, but I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment. I think he has at times struggled in certain scenarios, but he plays so fast. I think if he could just control that a little bit better, he'd be better. Certainly a hard hitter, decent in coverage. Delpit's a really, really good player. Just shaky season last year. You almost wonder if he was like, all right, my draft stock is solidified. I'm going to take the year off and not play as hard. So, I mean, you hate to see that. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it is. I don't know. But Delpit is a good player, very high upside. Cowboys get themselves a great player at 17. At number 18, I'd like the running back here for a while just because I think DeAndre Swift is so good. But I've decided to change my tune a little bit, and I'm going to give them an offensive tackle. Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. He's a mauler. He's incredible size. He's 6'7", 370. Yeah, 6'7", 369. mauler in the run game, but he's actually really, really athletic for his size. The only thing you'd worry about is weight problems with him being up already so high. Definitely fills out the frame at 6'7", 370. He's built huge. He's always the biggest player in the field, and like noticeably so. He is a monster, and the Dolphins really, really, really could use the offensive tackle help. I think they'd be disappointed that the top offensive tackles are on the board, and they're even an outside shot to take a tackle at number 5, I think, because they lost Jawan James to free agency. The Broncos picked him up, and you traded away Laramie Tunsil to the Houston Texans. So you need tackles so badly, and if Becton's on the board, I think the Dolphins definitely get themselves a good player there. They've went to Louisville in the first round before in the form of Devontae Parker. I know different coaching staff, different management taking a receiver there, but Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle at Louisville, to the Dolphins at number 18, and that leaves the Raiders at number 19. I'm going to go ahead and give them a linebacker, and that is going to be Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. A really solid tackler, kind of has that sideline-to-sideline range. Not the best speed, but definitely takes great angles of pursuit. Definitely a sound tackler. Definitely decent in coverage. Good safe pick here, I think, for the Raiders at number 19. I don't know if you're getting an all-world type linebacker the way that maybe Isaiah Simmons has the potential to be, but I think it's a very, very high floor player that's not going to make a whole lot of mistakes for you. So Kenneth Murray I like quite a bit. Number 20, got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock again. We took Jerry Jeudy with their first selection at number 9. The pick again at number 20. We're going to go ahead and give them a corner in Christian Fulton out of LSU. Have to replace Jalen Ramsey, and Christian Fulton is going to be that perfect replacement for them there. Again, had a really good season for LSU. Kind of got picked apart a little bit in the national championship, but again, he had a very good season. Definitely has a great pro potential, and is a good Jalen Ramsey replacement. Number 21, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a huge need in the secondary. They have a huge need at wide receiver. We're going to go ahead and give them wide receiver in a deep receiver class, though. Linebackers not so strong, but I think you can wait on it a little bit. Receiver is strong, but at the same time, you don't want it to thin out at all. So, Laviska Shenault to the Philadelphia Eagles out of Colorado. Great player, great playmaker. Plays bigger than his size. I think he's only like 6'2", but he plays like bigger than. And 6'2" is not small for a receiver, obviously. That's not what I'm saying. But he plays even bigger than that. And at the same time, like when he has a football in his hands, he plays smaller because he's really, really quick, really elusive. Laviska Shenault is a very, very good player. Number 22, I'm going to give the Bills T. Higgins. I'm not as high on him as a lot of other guys are. I think he can struggle to create separation against top competition, but he's got decent hands. He's a good player, and definitely has first-round potential. So I don't think I'd be very surprised to see him go in the first round. So we're going to go ahead and plug him in at number 22 to the Buffalo Bills. At number 23, this was a really tough pick for me because I don't know what's happening with Tom Brady even. And is Jarrett Stidham their QB of the future? Probably not. They could use help on the defensive line, like in all facets. They have like a lot of holes, but their defense played so well last year, which leads me to believe that they can't go defense. They have to go offense, and they don't have a lot of receiver. Of course, they took N'Keal Harry with a first-round pick last year. They traded for Mohamed Sanu, who was a huge disappointment, and Julian Edelman is certainly getting older. And wasn't a huge factor for them in the one playoff game. But I don't think they go receiver here. We're going to go ahead and give them a tight end, and that is going to be, right now, the consensus top tight end in the class. I love Albert Okwuegbunam a lot. I haven't seen him at all this past year. Haven't had a chance to study him, although he was my favorite tight end in the class last year before he decided to return to school. But we're going to go ahead and give them Bryson Hopkins. He's got the size, he's got the technical route running ability that I think a coach like Bill Belichick is going to love. So size, speed, technical ability in terms of a route runner, he has a first-round tight end written all over him. And then the Saints are up at number 24. Another team with a lot of needs here. But I think this pick makes a lot of sense for them. I'm going to go ahead and give them Jalen Reagor at a TCU. I don't want to fit just Louisiana to Louisiana. Saints take Justin Jefferson. I think Reagor is someone that makes a little bit more sense for the Saints in terms of just what he brings to the table. He's got some elite deep speed as well. I think he's going to really make a push for that top 40 time as a receiver along with Henry Ruggs. Reagor's a beast, and I think the reason I have the Saints going for him instead of a guy like Justin Jefferson, besides the speed, is I think his versatility. This is a guy that returned kicks. He returns kicks frequently. He has incredible playmaking ability in that regard. I think he's like Ted Ginn, but better. Ted Ginn should never have been a first-round pick, or at least not that high, with his huge issues. Reagor doesn't really have all those. Rager's a good player. Good route running, great vertical ability as well, despite his size only being 5'11". He can really go up and get the football at times. And the Saints, they love their versatility. You look at Taysom Hill, you look at Alvin Kamara. Maybe Rager's the guy you could see taking a lot of handoffs, despite being a receiver, because he's done that at TCU as well. So I like him for the Saints a lot. And we have the Vikings at number 25. I've never seen a pick that makes like more sense than this one in the overall terms, because Stephon Diggs plays on the Vikings. This is his little brother, Trayvon Diggs, but more so than just the namesake, because I feel like kind of weird doing that. But he's a big physical cornerback with good speed. The Vikings' biggest need is probably cornerback. Mike Zimmer loves to take big physical cornerbacks with speed. Diggs checks every single box. It almost makes too much sense that I would like opt to go a different direction, but no, I'm going to give him to Trayvon Diggs. At number 26, I'm going to go ahead and give the Dolphins DeAndre Swift, top running back in the class, in my opinion. Kind of does it all. DeAndre Swift is a really good player. I know I want to hear like Jonathan Taylor people talk about, J.K. Dobbins people talk about. I think DeAndre Swift just does everything a little bit better than those guys. And for that reason, I think he's going to be the only running back taken the first round. Spoiler, I do not have Jonathan Taylor as a first-round guy right now. I do not have J.K. Dobbins. I think those guys are dark horses to sneak in on the back end, maybe to a team like the Titans. Even with Derrick Henry, he's a free agent. They might not be able to bring him back. Maybe even to the Ravens, although I doubt that. But probably to a team like the Chiefs at 31 that really does need a running back. But I don't have them taking one in this particular mock draft. At number 27, I'm going to go ahead and give the Seahawks Javon Kinlaw. They need a big presence on the interior of that defensive line. Kinlaw has extreme athleticism for someone that's 6'6", 310. There are some plays where you see him drop back after the passes have been completed behind him, and he covers some incredible ground to get in there and make the tackle. Like really just a freak athlete. Someone I could see going a whole lot higher than this at number 27, but in this instance he falls. Seahawks get themselves a stud. At number 28, Justin Jefferson is going to be the pick here for the Ravens. I think they could use help at receiver. For a while I went back and like they need edge, they need so many different things. And then you looked at the Ravens in the playoffs, and they had no one to throw the ball to. Like Mark Andrews is a great tight end. Hollywood Brown showed a lot of potential as a rookie last year, but they need somebody else. It can't be Willie Snead. It cannot be Miles Boykin. I can see them taking a receiver in the first round. Justin Jefferson available. They pull the trigger. Titans at number 29. Going to give them Yetur Gross-Matos. Now, apparently he has some off-the-field stuff that's coming to light with like hazing at Penn State. That's just what a rumor that's been floating around. I'm not sure how that's going to affect his draft stock or whether that's true or not, but it is true that I heard it. I don't know how much it's going to affect his draft stock, as I said, but what is true is that I have him going to the Titans here at number 29. I don't know. I don't really know what his draft placement is going to be. I could see him going top 20. I could also see him going middle of the second round. I don't really know about Yetur Gross-Matos quite yet. There are a lot of good edge rushers, like Curtis Weaver, like Terrell Lewis out of Bama, like Jonathan Grenard, like even Zach Bond is really, really good. So there are a ton of good edge rushers that are probably not going to go in the first round that definitely have great potential. So it's going to be interesting to see, basically the rankings by which teams take which players, in order. So Packers at number 30. Really played around with them taking receiver a lot, but a lot of the best receivers are off the board. And maybe they go for KJ Hamler, who's finally declared, and he's definitely coming out. And I think he has a lot of deep speed, a lot of potential to be a great player, and might be exactly what the Packers need. But I'm going to go ahead and give them a linebacker. I think they take Patrick Queen out of LSU. Great coverage ability, great sideline-to-sideline speed. I didn't think he was going to declare, but he did. And then welcome to the draft. And I think a team that could see his value that maybe is a little bit unsure about him because of the small sample size of not playing a ton at LSU because he's a little bit younger. He's been good when he's been on the field. Packers, who need linebackers so badly to replace Blake Martinez and get better. Patrick Queen is the guy. Chiefs at number 31. Going to give them C.J. Henderson out of Florida. A little bit of a down year for him. Still one of the best players in the class. Still a solid corner. Chiefs need a cornerback very, very badly. And then I'm ending this with Tyler Biadasz, who is a interior offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. Definitely can play center. I think he could move to guard too. If you had to choose one position that's a little bit weaker on this 49ers team, I think, cornerback and interior offensive line certainly fit the bill. That is my mock draft. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.
We'll